Hello everyone, welcome to this stream, introduced today by me and not Natasha. Sorry, just
an exciting moment.
An exciting moment there for me. So yes, welcome. I'm with WM Natasha Regan as always, and I'm GM Matthew Sadler, and we're here to take you through round 3 of the British Online Chess Championship qualifiers. And well, if you're regulars to our stream, you're going to find a lot of names you recognize, a lot of familiar faces, and a lot of familiar hackers as well. And we're going to be spending the next couple of hours just having a great time looking at some great chess. So we've got
just as a reminder that if you are actually playing in the event, you are not meant to be watching the stream until, well, you're not allowed to watch the stream until afterwards. And then I hope you do watch afterwards and see when we pop in on your games.
Indeed, because I think we really try and get catch up with everyone really. So hey, person,
hi,
how are things? So right, Natasha, can you maybe make my screen visible, and we will have a look at the pairings, because we've got
some make your screen visible. There you go.
We've got some good matchups today. I've even made it large size so we can actually read it. So it's it's Yi-Chin Han against Adam Sikowski. Then we've got Harry Grieve, second seed, against Lewis Turner. Then Tristan Cox, Rock Troll, against Ali Chavez, or Chavez Ali, sorry. Then we've got Leo Keeley against Water Pistol Squirter Paul Dargan. Simon Smith against Gordon Frederick. And then this was one matchup that you highlighted, Natasha.
Yes, matchup of the junior players, Theo Cowrie against Arjun Kalani. And if I remember right, they were both in the, am I right? Was Theo in the Glawny Cup? Well, Arjun was definitely in the Glawny Cup. I think Theo was as well. Anyway, they're both very strong junior players. Yeah,
so that's going to be a good matchup. We'll definitely keep an eye on that one. There's Ryan Fuchs against Spencer Lawrence. Gerasimos Giakos against Edson Zhu. Peter Finn, checkmate-a-lot against Harry Zheng.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one too. That should be
Harry Zheng, is that
Lego Children?
Oh, that's Lego Children, right? Okay. So
another very good junior.
Yeah, then we've got George Gazis against Simon Wilkes. We've got Jonathan Payne.
Simon Wilkes beat Guitar Man, says Guitar Man.
Wow. Okay. Well. Then we've got Jonathan Payne against Swati Singh. Richard Chiang, that's all guns blazing, isn't it? Against
yes.
Oliver Stubbs. So that should be a good matchup, because Richard's not high rated on this site, but
he's good.
He's been causing people all sorts of trouble. We've got Haran Rasalingam against Jay Cranston. Now let's have a look if we can spot any more. We've got a few.
How about? Oh yes, Lawrence Webb against Paul Rowan. That's a tough one.
Indeed, and we've got Chris Duncan against Manoy Aurora. So I mean, we've got some a couple of the higher seeds here who had an upset, and so they're trying to get back into the qualifying, of course. We've got Andrew McGettigan against Bing Xuan Lee Ethan. We've got Max Pert here, son of Richard Pert, against Hugo Fowler.
Emil Steiners is Elephant something. Do you remember Elephant? No, I've forgotten the name, but we followed him before, another very strong junior player.
Ah, okay.
Let me tell you what it is. Speed Elephant.
Ah, Speed Elephant, that's right. We've got Dimitros Levon Zakarian, who probably we think is the son of David Zakarian. We've got Tashika Aurora that we've often seen, Jude Shearsby, Dennis Dupuis, other promising juniors here. Got loads of promising juniors, of course, in this field. So, Jan Moravsky, strong junior as well, that we've often seen playing. Julio, we've often seen bad start, but hoping to get back. So lots to play for, lots of interesting games. So I think it's probably actually started, in actual fact.
Yes.
So I will then switch to my tab. Wait a minute. I will do something. I will try and there we are. That's the one, isn't it? what I actually need. Just forgive me for fiddling a little bit whilst I realise I've just done something a little bit silly there. Just to make sure I get the people. Actually, wait a minute. I'm going to open that in another browser, and then I'll just be able to do it without disturbing anyone. All right. Hitchinyan is Peshka the Great, so let's see what he's up to. Observe. Peshka the Great. Here we are against Adam Tchaikovsky. Oh, this is a Michael Adams bishop b5 check Sicilian. Quite interesting. So e4 c5, knight f3 b6, bishop b5 check, bishop b7, and then this move c4. Yeah, I've seen Michael Adams playing it, so quite interesting. The idea is if bishop takes b5, we take back with the c pawn, and the black knight can't get to c6. So knight f6, knight c3, g6, b4 from white, takes, bishop g7, bishop e3, okay, castles and h3. The reason I said okay was that I always thought that once black castled, then you should play bishop takes d7, because this bishop's a little bit exposed here, and I sort of wondered whether you could even play a move like bishop c8 and just leave the bishop out of the way. But that hasn't happened, and
I suppose white's quite glad that black's played a6 then and kind of forced that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because often it's not clear you want that knight on d7. I mean, c6 is quite a decent square for this knight, so it's a little bit strange. I mean, I don't know whether I'm not up to date with the theory anymore, and but I don't know whether bishop c8 is a move, but it'd definitely be one I'd consider. Because the bishop ends up being a little bit awkward then, and then you might play your knight to d7, and maybe white's going to end up exchanging the bishop for a knight or something, which might be interesting. So that's quite interesting. But anyway, a6 takes, and we've got into this sort of Maroczy-bind position, so called because the pawns on c4 and e4 are named after Maroczy. Although I challenge you to find any game in which Maroczy played this structure. But
did he not play it?
Well, no. I mean, there's no famous games of his with that, so you never know. Maybe he just pointed out the structure, or something like that. I don't know why, but no, there's no famous games of him having played this structure. But what should white be doing here? Well, protecting c4 is the most important thing to start with. So I think you're going to be seeing rook c1 and b3, rook c1 and then b2 to b3 to solidify. Probably a4 to stop b5 as well, and then I mean, essentially with white, you're not claiming much, but you are claiming that you've got a bit of a bind here, and that you've achieved this against maybe normally you'd have a Najdorf or something like that, and you'd have to work for it, and here you've just got a slight advantage with very simple means, just by giving a check on move 3. So I mean, quite a decent way for white to play, and of course quite a big rating difference, probably exaggerated on this site, but still, even if you're looking at ELO, there's about a 400 ELO point difference between the two players. So probably just one of those things where white's just aiming to play nice and safe and solid, and just secure a nice advantage. So we're going to see how that goes. Let's have a look. We'll move on to board 2.
Okay, the game with the juniors is already in an end game. I did an observe whimsical jam.
Okay, I'll just do Harry Gree first of all, and then we can move on to that one. It's always the risk with juniors that they might play very fast. Okay, so this is let's have a look at the start of the game. Anything is possible with Maroczy if you've read Victor Korchnoy's autobiography. Ooh. Victor Korchnoi and Maroczy. I don't know that, Percy. What's the story there? That's let's have a look. We've got a dragon here. So between Harry Grieve and Lewis Turner. I mean, Harry's very completely variable in his. Hey, Ocelot.
Hi, Harry. Hi, Ocelot.
Harry's very variable in his openings. I mean, he sometimes he plays very quiet stuff like the Torre or the Trompowsky, and here he is going for a mainline dragon. So D5. This is the one of the sharpest lines. You know, castles, queenside. I mean. If white goes bishop c4, it's the Yugoslav attack, and black can't play d5. You castle, and then black can play d5. And famously, Gawain Jones played this again with black against Magnus Carlsen. Gawain has written a 2-volume series on the dragon, and Magnus won a piece, and then unfortunately lost the game against Magnus. I am thinking, yes, Victor is too young to have played Maroczy, although Maroczy got. Nah, even then, Victor was too young to have played Maroczy. Oh no, you're right. You are right, Percy, because it was the séance, wasn't it? Victor took part in a séance and spoke to the ghost of Maroczy. That's right. Yes, indeed, that's the one. That's the one. I'm remembering now. Yay!
And this is where the Maroczy bind came from.
No, I don't think so. I think that the Maroczy bind existed before, but no, that's right. Yeah, that's a great story actually. It's there's all sorts of claims like that. I think somebody once claimed that they'd talked to Franz Liszt through a séance, and that Franz had sent him a new composition. So all these sort of things. So this is all theory. Bishop c4, bishop e6, knight e4. Now, I'm trying to remember what happened with Magnus, but Magnus, I reckon, was it something like? I can't really remember what it was. It was there's some stage he put the knight on g5 and black went f5, f4, and it was really embarrassing. But I can't remember how the game went. But it wasn't queen c7 anyway. So bishop c5. This is all mainline theory, I think, all known. And well, you can see indeed the players are absolutely hammering these moves out. h6, g4, knight f4, takes, bishop e3. Indeed, Percy. Knight f4, takes, queen f2, knight d5, bishop d2, rook b8. Yeah, I mean, I think this is
still theory now.
I'm pretty sure this is still theory in actual fact. Can I? I don't quite know how to. Can I get the PGN? I don't know whether I can get the PGN, but oh, maybe set. I know. Download. Haha. Right. We can have a little look to see whether it's theory. Let me just try that. But I would have thought that it was. It looks remarkably natural. Let me have a look.
Yeah, and they're both still playing massively.
They're both still playing at huge speed. Oh well, over the board we've sort of left. We've left it behind. Bishop takes e6, knight e6.
Hi, Tom. Tom, any Catalan games? Not of the ones we've seen so far, but I'm sure we'll come across some.
So queen f2 was the last bit of over the board theory that I have, which I think is Greg Shahadi. Is that Greg Shahadi? Yeah, Greg Shahadi played this twice in Blitz games and Jennifer's brother and lost. Let me just get hold of the correspondence database because these are usually quite good. Often you get game. These are sort of variations. Oh yeah, there's loads of games there.
Hi, Confederation of Italy.
Queen f2. Okay. Yeah, no, we're still following correspondence chess theory here. So queen f2, knight d5, bishop d2, and is rook b8 a new move? Could be.
Okay, so yeah. Lewis Turner has played a theoretical novelty in this position. Looks like a very sensible one.
Yeah, I mean, apparently black often goes queen b6 in this position, and here black's gone rook b8. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this was something like in Gawaine's book, or something like this, because it looks like quite a natural move. I mean, what are these positions? I mean, in principle, white's pleasantly better, you would have thought. I mean, black's pawn structure is somewhat broken, so there's a nice chance to get a queen or a knight onto this nice square. We've also got possibilities of going c4 to eventually to drive away the knight from d5. So potentially there's quite a lot going for white. It's just that yeah, I mean, black is also reasonably active, and I mean, engines don't have any problems holding these sort of positions. They manage to play actively, for many moves, but it's yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I mean, in principle, I'd always prefer to be white in these positions. I think it's probably easier. I mean, what white's trying to do with h4 is either to play g5 or to play h5, and yeah, tie down these kingside pawns, create some weaknesses there, and then afterwards you're going to try and go on the queen side and claim a better. So it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see how well black knows these positions, and yeah, what sort of plans black's going to follow. Because yeah, I mean, you've got to be. It's not. I mean, probably I would have thought there's some sort of precise maneuver here that my engines would find, to equalize more clearly as black. But if you don't find it, wow, f5.
Oh,
f5.
Bold move by black there.
This is very sharp.
Yeah.
Let's just have a little analyze, just because this is getting quite crucial. Because I mean, if this sort of thing works, then it could just be that yeah, it could easily be that that black's just better here. But I'm slightly worried. So okay, well, we're going to take off on f5. Takes, that feels natural. And now what can you do? I mean, I suppose the idea is after knight c5, you've got a couple of ideas, but e4 would seem to be the main one. You're attacking b2.
Yeah.
And if you go something like b3, I'll go queen e5. That's the general idea. And queen a1 is coming in, also threatening e3. Now, so what can we do about this? Well, there's several ideas. One idea here is to throw in a wee little rook g1 here. With the idea of fe, I've got bishop h6, followed by rook g7, which is 18 moves of theory. I'll stick to guitar. No, I think you're right. I think you're right, Percy. I think that's absolutely correct. So bishop h6, which is probably just winning, I think.
Okay.
Is that correct?
You can't counterattack.
Well, I mean, you can go something like e3, for example, but I'll go queen g3 and line up. Or maybe even better, just queen e2. Queen e2 better. I'm pretty sure you're gonna end up enjoying this one. I mean, I'm threatening rook g7.
Yeah.
Although it's quite hilarious. I mean, you could try rook b2 in this position, because rook g7 takes allows. Well, actually, I could do it two ways: rook b1 or no, yeah, rook b1.
Yeah, rook b1.
Knight c3.
And how is this? This is crazy. This is fine, isn't it? This is fine for black. Oh no, but what about the h pawn? It's fine for white. White's winning.
Not sure. I mean, it's just that this move's quite annoying because it sort of stops.
Oh, so knight g1, yeah.
No, I'll go knight g1, knight f3. No, this is probably quite okay for black. I mean, white's king goes to here, so presumably it's a draw, but not particularly. But I'm pretty sure that
there must be something else though against rook b2.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say I'm reasonably sure that that this is fine for. This is going to be winning for white, and then let's just have a look for something else with fe, because I mean we can just go king h8 here, just getting out of all these tricks. And now it's Coco. It's the British Online Championship Qualifiers Round 3. So and great tournament, great players, and lots of our favorite people. So Let's have a look at it. So what else have we got here? We've got knight c5. Round 1 was a couple of days ago. It's 1 round a day, Coco. So knight c5 is the interesting one. And now we go e4. And now, this is the moment where it all starts getting pretty exciting.
So,
yeah,
I kind of think black might take on g7 somehow.
White might take on g7.
Right, yes,
yeah.
because
No,
if you say,
promise queen g7. Queen g7 hits b2. So this is
yeah.
No, I mean, I was looking at knight e6. I mean, black can always go bishop b2. I was wondering about this, but I don't really see my mating threats as white. It's a little bit disappointing. So I'm not sure about knight c5. Knight c5, e4. Because I mean, if you start going stuff like c3, I go queen b6, and I've got quite a few threats here. And what I'm wondering about is whether after instead of knight c5, whether I could go rook g6 to meet fe with bishop h6 again. It's not really that clear. Yeah, it's a classical, well, sort of classical, 45 minutes plus, is it 15 seconds increment? So by online standards, definitely pretty classical.
So the actual British Championship itself starts on Friday evening, I think. So this is the 5-round qualifier for that. So some top players are through kind of automatically. All slow play games, and then when you get into the actual final itself, it's going to be even a little bit slower. So it's an hour each, I think, when you get to the final there. And so you can follow that all of next week. So we're sort of going from Friday and running through till I think the following Saturday.
I mean, I'm not feeling very happy about this, really.
This position?
No. I'm
for who? For white?
For white, yeah.
Yeah. What about if you just drop back to c3 instead?
Natasha, is this the spirit that made you a Mora Gambit player?
You got to defend at the appropriate moment, haven't you? You attack, you go attack like a lunatic, and then defend at the right moment.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm even thinking about these sort of moves. This is this looks fine for black, really. I would have thought. So yeah, I have a feeling that this has gone a little bit wrong for white. White's taken on f5. Oh, and gone rook g1, king h8. Okay, I mean, black's playing like a steam train here. So I don't know. I would have. I'd expect there's still to be preparation somehow, but yeah. But I think this is looking quite completely fine for black now. I think I don't think this move h4 or this whole thing was very good, really. Probably, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a look. You want to
on the juniors, yeah.
Yeah.
So Whimsical Jam and I think it's Tactic Monster 12.
Tactic Monster 12. Oh God, it's this one. Oh, okay.
Your opponent resigned after one move. Well done, I guess. I don't know what move you played that scared them so much to resign straight off.
Well done. Now that is the spirit. You are the sort of player we need in the Quarantine League.
Intimidating board presence there. Well, you must have a very good username.
No, probably your avatar is incredibly scary. That's the that's the thing. It's so this is a Scotch. This is a Scotch, and one of the very interesting variations where both sides misplace their queen, blocking the light square bishop, dark square bishop for black, of course, and then try and develop after. And it was Garry Kasparov who made these lines dangerous again. It was thought to be nothing at all. And then, of course, Garry got working on it, found plenty of interesting ideas, and suddenly it was a major weapon. This is a very well-known ending, though. So takes, c takes d5, bishop f1 takes, knight c3, c6. And for the white's got 2 pieces, bishop and knight, but black's got 2 pawns and a pretty solid central pawn structure there. Yeah, I mean, I've seen white win this, I've seen white lose this, and I've seen draws. So it's but in principle, you know, from a theoretical perspective, this is actually just fine for black. This is the general feeling. To be honest,
I think it might be easier to play for white just by looking at it. Is that fair or not?
I didn't want to play this as white, to be honest. I didn't. I thought the chances of losing the thread and going wrong were reasonably present. Actually, I tended to prefer black's position with the central pawns, but that's not the correct theoretical status. I mean, in principle, white should have a small edge, but be intriguing to see how well both players know the position. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, obviously the good initial opening theory, but it's a question now of, you know, how comfortable are you with what's coming now, you know? So that'll be an interesting one.
White want to play b5 next if black doesn't stop it.
I'm not sure. Ooh, d4.
d4.
That is an interesting move. Well, it could well be that white's been a little bit careless here, because normally I would have expected, to be honest, instead of b4, bishop f3 to cover the e2 square.
Okay.
Because here after knight a4, we've got rook e2, and the rook's getting very active.
Yeah, and white can't drop back there.
I get the feeling that white's made a big mistake there, to be honest. Yeah. I think after knight a4, rook e2, I think black's clearly better to winning, I think, to be honest.
Oh gosh, that dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, the key thing is, you know, you've got to dominate the rooks, and you know, if the rooks get active, then yeah, I mean, it's so I think I'm afraid that we've seen an early mistake there from white. But we'll see. We'll see how that all goes.
How it goes, yeah.
Let me find, where are we here? Chess results. Who have we got? We've got to follow the one and only Rock Troll.
Rock Troll. Okay, let's see it.
Sorry, I thumped on my keyboard and one of the keys popped out. Right. Okay. So. Rock Troll. Been playing very well, Rock Troll. Okay, Alpha Zero line. So this is a Ragazine, Queen's Gambit Decline.
Oh yes.
Which is one of Alpha Zero's favourites, and actually also an opening I played quite a bit as black. I think really because it was recommended by Richard Pert in one of his.
Yes, I was going to say Richard Pert did a book, didn't it?
In his, it was an excellent book actually on the Ragazine. Really, really well worth watching. And it's a very solid, black repertory. We also watched a video, didn't we? A DVD by Ramirez on the Ragazine.
Certainly did. Yes, indeed. And I think all the lines came out as draws in that.
Yeah, no, it was
not all, but quite a lot of draws.
Yeah, the standard no, it was a very good DVD, by the way. But the standard way that he concluded was say, and black's a little worse, but he certainly shouldn't lose. You know, that was the.
It was better than that. It wasn't just that you shouldn't lose. It was if you forgot the moves, got them all in the wrong order, and did it wrong, it should still be all okay, which I thought was really quite nice, you know, because it gives you that little bit of scope of not remembering it perfectly, and you should still be fine.
No, it's nowadays, yeah, it's a high class opening actually. It's but this was actually played not Queen D6. I think Alpha Zero normally played H6 in actual fact, but it sort of transposes. Although you'd rather have a move H6 played, but Bishop E2. And I think Alpha Zero was playing Bishop F5 in these positions, actually. Yeah, it's an interesting little structure here. So with A6, black's getting ready to meet Rook B1 with B5. I mean, Rocktroll's quite an attacking player, so in some ways it's a slightly surprising choice from him, because this is very, very solid indeed. For white. I mean, Keith often plays this way as white.
Rocktroll sometimes starts quietly, and then it's
that is true. That is true.
And then it kind of suddenly livens up in the middle game.
That's absolutely true. But I'd expect Black to play something maybe just b5 here, and then just try and play the knight a5 into c4, play the pawn to c6, and and you're just fairly even, really. It's we'll see how that all goes, but quite an interesting battle ahead there. So that's Rocktroll. Let's have a look. The next board is Leo Keeley against Paul Dargan.
Let's see that. So Leo Keeley is Leo Keeley 1.
I'm going for nut flush.
Okay.
It's Paul Dargan. Let's have a look. So this was a Grand Prix attack. A well-known line, d5. I've had this against various people, strong players like Julian Hodgson. They all played e5 here, because this is quite a well-known trick. After e takes d5, you play a6. And then if you go knight c3, oh, good lord. Oh. Yep. If you go knight c3, then knight f6 happens, and you regain the pawn, and you've got two bishops, and it's basically quite good. So White played this unusual move, knight a3, d3, b5, and Paul Dargan playing very aggressively here. So and after c4, carried on playing aggressively, just giving up a pawn. Whoops, c takes b5, knight f6.
Counter attack.
Indeed. So it's not bad at all. I mean, just imagine a Benko gambit, and you're a pawn down, but you've got plenty of play on the AB, and here even d files, of course, because this pawn is weak. So I think actually this is a very nice idea. So knight e5 was played, knight g4, sharp counterattack, just to avoid the exchange of queens. Knight g4, bishop g4, queen b3, bishop d4 check, king h1. So not 100% sure about that one, but it's always a difficult decision knowing when to put it in. I think Black was probably thinking, White wants to go bishop e3, so I'll stop him. Yeah. And now Black's got to decide what he wants to do here.
See, to me, you just have to castle. Maybe I castle too much, but surely you have to get that king out of the way.
Castle's very sensible, yeah. Castles would be a very sensible move. I wonder whether Black's aiming for something more juicy.
Like bishop e2, do you mean?
Bishop e2 is one idea. Bishop e6, another one. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about g5. That's in the general.
No, really.
That's in the general sense of these are not my pieces. That's the that's the thing. Now, I mean, bishop e2 is possible.
G5 with the idea of opening the g file and going for the attack, and you just think the king will be okay, because it isn't then the f7 pawn and stuff.
We're protecting it. We're protecting it. That's I don't know. I was thinking here and then here, and
double Benko on both wings.
A Benko on both wings. No, I mean, I imagine it's really total rubbish. But yeah, But anyway, that's just what I was thinking. But yeah, I mean, bishop e2 potentially wins the exchange. Rook e1 and then bishop f2. That's possible.
Yeah.
The question is, is this? Are we setting ourselves up to get hit by something? That's the problem. But it's not actually clear what that hit might be, actually, because White's pieces are so badly developed. I mean, you could do something just like bishop d2,
Yeah.
But then the question is, can we go bishop g3? h3, and this is the sort of thing that you'd want.
I prefer this to g5, but okay. But then you could go king g1.
Yeah, you go king g1, and then what I was thinking about was you're going to grab the exchange, but then you'll at least you'll have got your bishop on d5.
Yeah,
something like that. But I'm not 100% sure about it. I mean, then we castle. That could be possible. That could be a possible line. I mean, we could also just take on here, and then go castles, for example. That's also possible, and maybe more sensible. But it's just very tempting to try and do something like this. I mean, even
he's going to go g5, isn't he?
No, I don't think so. Bishop f3, but then you cover with queen c2. So I mean, this is really, really tempting. This. I mean, what if I come here straight away?
Yeah, because that can't be taken because of mate.
Indeed, and I'm actually just threatening bishop g3. You know, that's actually quite a. It's actually quite a serious. Quite a serious threat, really.
All right, so
of course, if you do realize if we had g5 and h6 in, that this attack would be absolutely killing, because we'd have the g file open as well. But it's I mean, if we had g5, fg, h6 in there, I mean, in all fairness, takes, and now bishop e2. Rook e1, bishop f2. Just rook g8, threatening rook takes g2.
But you might not play gh.
Well, I'm threatening hg. I mean, it's actually quite a serious, it's actually quite a serious threat in some ways. But maybe you can go, maybe you can go bishop f4 and then here. Maybe you're. Maybe it's all. It's probably. I mean, it's way too much. Of course, I'm just having a bit of fun there. But have we seen more blacks playing? Oh, black just castled there.
No, that's the move I would have played. But I've now been convinced by all your moves.
Yeah, you should never be convinced by my analysis. I'm only.
You're only mucking up.
I'm only. No, I mean, I'm always only just. Around with ideas for that, but I mean, I think it just shows, you know, that there is plenty of attacking potential there, really, you know. So, I mean, one thing I really liked would be to go. Sorry, you know, obviously bishop e2, king there, queen f3. I mean, that's the.
That's nice.
So, but one just goes queen c2, I think, and it's just not going to be. It's just not going to be there. Again, you know, if you've gone g5, takes, h6 takes, then these things suddenly become rather dangerous, you know.
So do you think, Nut Flush, do you think he should be squirted by a water pistol for that? For missing g5? I
think so. I definitely, we've got to see this as a mischance. No, I don't think so. It's, yeah, but anyway, there's quite a bit of attacking potential. But I think castle's a very good move, and black's just much better, really. You know, it's probably play rook. Probably play.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do g5 now. That just because you just
he's gone bishop e2 now. That's possible too. I mean, a move like rook b8 would also have been very sensible. Pardon me, just you know, just going to take on b5 afterwards. Yeah, it's all very good. Nice play from black. Very nice concept. I like this very much. This b5 and then just giving up the pawn like that. Very active. So yeah, nice play and looking good for Paul Dargan.
I was having a quick look at Tashika Aurora's game.
Oh, okay.
So white is Hardikuma Patel and is pushing a whole lot of pawns forward in the center. So,
all right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at chess queen 960. Dum 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 dum. All right. Isn't but White's got 2 pieces for the rook, right?
Yes.
So in principle, a clear advantage for White. Yeah, this is looking very nice for White, actually. So I'm guessing we just go A4 here now. And then we go B takes A5, and then B7 is hanging afterwards. So I'm afraid that looks like a big advantage. What actually happened there? So A3, knight C5, B4, and then knight B3. That was a strange decision, really. I guess that maybe black just missed that it was all covered. I guess maybe.
So she'd have probably been better to drop a knight back at that point.
Well, I mean, knight c5 is not the move you want to play, really, because I mean, if you play the knight to here, then knight d7, then we've got knight g5 hitting the bishop, which is going to be awkward. And to move back to a6 is, I mean, that's really, you've lost 2 tempi, and b4 is a really good tempo. So, I mean, White was just a little bit better here already, but I don't know, maybe moves like knight d5 just to try and, exchange off some knights, or just a solid move like maybe h6 to stop knight g5, or, queen d7, something like that, get the rooks out. It was that sort of thing that was needed, but yeah, this is rather serious. I mean, in principle, White is winning then, when you get 2 pieces for the rook like this. So yeah, a difficult battle ahead for Black here, I think.
Yeah. All right then. Okay, so the next one down the list is Woldsman.
Oh, Woldsman.
Against, was it Frederick the Mate?
Oh, one of my favorite openings, this. Well, not quite, but the structure's there. So it's a Queen's Gambit declined. Rook c1, knight e4, Lasker variation. White's played it a little bit subtly by putting the rook on c1 before developing the knight to f3. Takes, and this sort of forces Black to go for this structure. It's a Carlsbad structure,
yeah,
that we know and love. f3, yeah, it's a bit provocative, this bishop g4. Black's looking to swap off this light square bishop for the knight. White's having none of it. And the bishop goes back to c8. So a couple of moves wasted. Probably not a good idea there. Queen b2, castles, rook e8, and now straight away e4. So yeah, I mean, this is a setup that that AlphaZero likes very much with White, and indeed, who wouldn't? 2 central pawns in the center like that. The only thing is, yeah, I mean, you've got to be a little bit careful because they're also a little bit vulnerable. E4 is easily covered. D4 can be a little bit of an inconvenience there. But rook a8, rook f3, a good move. White certainly rook takes f6 here. And followed by queen takes h6, which would be very dangerous. So yeah. Black goes knight d7, and now it's White's move here.
Okay. So now that knight's moved, you might consider e5 and try and get on that diagonal.
Yeah, the only problem there is that the knight takes e5.
Take it straight away.
Yeah. So e5, knight e5, and that's not.
That's obviously not good. But
that's not working.
So could you, might not be the right plan, but could you like line it up with queen c2?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I've got a double threat really of e5, and also, well, d5 could be a threat as well. Because, well, I'll just give a random move. D5 is the idea. And whack.
Checkmate.
I mean, bishop g4, we'd have rook f7. Okay, maybe we go knight f8 then with Black, keeping it tight at the back and also highlighting this pawn on d4. I'm not 100% clear. I'm wondering actually whether I'd maybe rather play the move queen f2 here.
Yeah.
that just gets out of the way and and protects the pawn on d4. You know, the idea being that black's probably likely to go knight f8 anyway, and then, well, we've got an extra move because we're protecting the d4 pawn. In all fairness, black's pretty solid here. But do we have some interesting moves? Maybe knight f5
yeah,
is interesting. I mean, knight h5 has also got a certain feel to it. The idea being bishop g4, we've got rook f7. I think black really wants to, you know, to put some pressure on d4. That's how he's going to be able to, but it's not easy. I mean, something like queen b4, queen d6, we just go rook f7. So this might be an awkward move. This might be a slightly awkward move for black to handle. But okay, maybe knight g6. Knight g6, maybe e5 then.
Yeah.
We'll get some, maybe some c5s in. It's tricky, this one. It's really tricky. You know, in general, I would prefer to be white, but I think black's, you know, exchanged off enough minor pieces to have, you know, even though black's constricted to the back 3 ranks, black has still got plenty of room for its pieces. So I don't know. I'm not sure. It's going to be an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on this.
You got any general tips on how you might handle hanging pawns?
Hanging pawns.
Yeah, or pawns together in the center like that. Do you just kind of leave them there, or?
These aren't really hanging pawns, really, but yeah, I mean, at some stage you're going to have to move them forward. So you know, the important thing is to, but normally the most important thing is to keep them as they are for as long as possible. And then only move them forward at a moment really of your choosing. You don't want to set it up too early and then let the opponent react easily and get all the weaknesses. You know, so but in this position, you know, the most natural thing is to play e5, followed by knight e4 into d6. That's a typical way to play this one, because e5 also activates, you know, the b1 h7 diagonal for the queen. So that's really the most active, but not easy to achieve all the time. You know, you're going to have to be a little bit careful with your pieces. You know, something like queen there, or maybe I don't know, queen c3, also another possible idea.
Norman's recommending your book, your chapter on the Tartakova.
Oh wow, that's very nice. That's. It's do I deal with this? I must deal with this structure, I think. Oh, okay. Knight f5 is interesting. So yeah, I mean, the idea is if bishop takes f5, then rook f5, and obviously we've got this this pawn on f7. If you don't take the knight, then g7 is sensitive. Let's have a look. What are we going to do about that? What sort of structure do we want? This might actually be quite an irritating little line for black here. Oh yeah, the d5 c5 pawns. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is. I think there is stuff in that book about d5 and c5. Yeah, I mean, the same things apply really. That you don't want to move them forward too early. Sometimes you can get an early break, like a d5 to d4 break with the pawns on c5 and d5. But in general, you know, you want to keep them where they are. There are some specific examples where you play c5 to c4 if you've got some pressure along the b file and attack a pawn on b2. Some very nice games in that. One very famous game, Bernstein Capablanca, where Kappa did this, and you know, that great positional feel of his, and it looks horrific, but it turns out fine. So yes, I think that's in the that book. But this is actually, yeah, I was looking for something more complicated and a bit more restrained. But this very simple approach might just be quite nice, actually, because after knight f5, I think probably you need to take bishop f5, rook f5. You'll probably have to defend the f pawn with rook f8, and then maybe we do something like. I'm not 100% sure that e5 works, although it could do. It's sort of obviously here takes is fine. I was thinking, and if I go queen e3, you go knight g6. But I was thinking that I could maybe pin you with rook e1 in that way. But then what was I thinking about? Knight c4 in this position, hitting the queen on d2. So rook e7, there's knight d2. But then, and I was, the problem is I can't, I'd like to go to line up really, but that of course drops my rook on e1. So I could go something like queen c3 though. And I seem to be picking up. No, I'm not picking up any. I'm not picking up anything. I got queen h4, unfortunately, and if queen c4, then.
But what about rook e4 next?
Rook e4. You are absolutely right, Natasha. Rook e4 is the move. Actually, the queen's trapped. Funnily enough. So no, well spotted, Natasha. That's queen e4 is great. So it could well be that you could even go e5 directly if you fancy a slightly dangerous life, and then you'll have queen c2, and yeah, I mean looks pretty dangerous really. So I think White's playing that very well. Ooh, Black's gone f6. Possible, but we're gonna have we're gonna start looking at stuff like queen c2 and going e5 there. So. It might well have been the best, maybe is the best. Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, the thing is, you're looking at stuff like here, knight f8. Oops. Here, maybe queen c2, knight f8, e5. And if f8, then I've got rook f8 and queen h7 mate. So it's feeling all a little bit risky. So, now interesting play. Well played, White, and well. We'll see how that all goes. Just seeing a whimsical jam here. You see this.
Yes. Black's
got a very active position here, and it's hard to see really how White's going to get free. Yeah, I mean, you really expect Black to be winning this one. Just have a quick look at Peshka the Great. Peshka the Great is a piece up, in actual fact. How did that happen? So, oops, sorry. A4. So, A4, rook C8. We said we'd be playing these moves just to try and consolidate, but Black decided it was time for a violent counterattack, and why not? The big idea is after knight db5, we go knight fe4. We've got this pin working here. At the very least, I mean, I'm also wondering whether you could go. Could you even go d5? I don't know. It may be a bit too much, but White played this interesting move e5, just looking to block the whole diagonal like this. And then your White's not a pawn up, but he's got two passed queenside pawns. But Black went sort of super sharp and went knight d3 check.
Ooh.
With the idea of takes, you'll take on here, and well, you're keeping all this pressure alive. So lots of tactics in there. Knight d3. White went king e2.
Oh, and the knight's not trapped.
Well, no, but we've got two knights hanging. That's the point.
Two knights hanging.
So I mean, this does look vaguely tempting, I have to say, but maybe it's nothing special. So Black took on e5, and White played knight db5. And here Black took a surprising decision, maybe. I would have said d5 would really be the move that I'd look at first.
And then rook d1.
Yeah, and rook d1, and then maybe what Black played afterwards. That's what I'm thinking. But oops, sorry. But Black took the Black actually played Knight takes c4 straight away here. It takes, which is quite interesting. Was met by rook a4. Indeed, Robert Fischer beat Spassky's hanging pawns. Classic game with this knight takes e6 and e4. That's but Spassky didn't play it the best. That was and then rook a4, queen a4, and then d5. It's an interesting position, but in principle, really white's just a piece up here. You know, black's got a little bit of compensation with these dangerous central pawns, but yeah, I think it's the attack has just gone. It's just been a little bit too much. I mean, I think the question is really whether in this position or maybe the next one, black had anything better. Knight takes e5, knight db5. I mean, let's just have a quick look. Not too long, but d5, rook d1. Did we have anything anything clever here for black? Well, I mean, we can go queen e8 in this position because, you know, knight d5 allows queen takes b5. So, I mean, even that's not completely clear, I have to admit. We can take there, takes, and go rook d8 check and go cb. Actually, that's not really working. But this does feel a bit risky. I mean, takes. Oh, we could go knight c4 and we've got bishop a1 afterwards. It might make you think that we should go rook a d1, but then we'll lose some attack on the a file. I'm not quite sure. But maybe what white could do here is to play c5 and just block that c file. And but I'm not sure about this. I mean, you know, you start getting stuff like knight c6 or maybe rook b8 hitting the knight on b5. And if it goes back, maybe you go knight c6 and then you're threatening e5. I'm not sure. I think this is still very, very unclear, this one, you know. But I think that this knight takes c4 was too hasty, I think, would be my feeling. Because I think black is a bit of a shame. Black had played it very creatively up till then. What have we got? Harry Grieve game was very interesting here. Knight c5, e4, and then c3 played by Harry.
Okay.
So now I was expecting. I know c3 I hadn't really looked at. It's true, yeah. So what's happened here? Queen b6.
This was the one where we quite liked black's attack, didn't we?
Absolutely, b3. Oh yeah, and this was the one I was expecting. E3. That was my idea, but I'm not sure whether maybe that's just not very good at all. Actually,
can black take on c3?
Well, depends what you're going to take with. If you take on there, I'll just take
the knight first, I think. Oh, are you going to take on g7?
I'm going to take on g7. Yeah. I mean, you can go knight a2.
Yeah, knight a2.
But your king looks a little bit exposed. Yeah. You know, I'll go queen d4. I'll take on a2, and that doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
And yeah, e3. I was sort of assuming that this would be quite decent, but actually, looking at it now, I can't actually see much to recommend it. I mean, I could. I was thinking takes and queen here, but maybe even just got a queen b2 or something, just to. Although there I could go f4.
No, you could go. Couldn't you go rook g7 and queen e5?
Queen e5 check. Yeah, that will be. That'll be good enough. So, I mean, I could go. Interesting. I mean, black went queen a5.
And you still go rook g7 and queen g3 check.
Well, I'm wondering, I've guessed that here black's going to take here, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that true? Not clear. If I go queen d4, what have you got? Well, I was very pessimistic about this line for white. Now all of a sudden I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, actually these enormous threats which I was seeing, they don't seem to be that good anymore. Queen g3, rook g8, which can't be right. You would have thought f takes e4. What are we doing? Queen takes c5, e takes d5, queen to d5. Well, it's not finished yet, but again, it's obviously looking a lot more comfortable for black. So e4, c3. Let's just have a little think about how that was, because it's a little surprising to me. I mean, the big problem, of course, is that if we played queen e5, there's knight d7. That's the real.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Rook g1, king h8, knight c5, e4, c3. Yeah, I'd said queen b6 there. Queen e5, there's knight d7. So that's not good. Yeah, there's just tricks everywhere, but I think you just take this one here. That's just going to be good enough. So not that one. And yet you really feel like, you really feel there might be something here.
Yeah.
I was wondering about queen f7, just to to have threats down here somehow. But you go f takes e4, and again I'm not 100% sure how you're expected to get any sort of attack here.
What about queen e7 instead of f7?
Queen e7. That looks like a good move. I'm just wondering, because I could go takes, and knight takes. And queen takes, I go rook.
And the usual trick. Yeah. Oh, but we have a check.
I can't go rook b2 because you've got queen f8 mate. Curses and damnations.
Oh, and you can't go queen h1 because of just rook back.
Just rook g1. I mean, I could do this, but well, actually, that's always the question about: is this? I think you're escaping.
Potential?
I don't think it's potential. I think you're escaping here somehow, and then taking on a7 and. So I don't know, but this is not over by any means. Queen e7, fe knight e4. I mean, would I have something else? I mean, I could go. I mean, rook b2, king b2, queen b4. I mean, you're looking at stuff like this, of course. But I think you just go back anyway. So fe4, knight e4. I could go rook f8, but then just queen g2. The black king's more. Well, he knew it was vulnerable, but I was sort of thinking that you sort of managed to turn the tables a little bit. But, but actually, this move
The c3 actually looks good, doesn't it? At first sight, I was thinking that can't be what you want to do, but
I was sort of thinking, but yeah, c3 here, b3, and then yeah, you're starting to run out of good moves, really. Just wondering, is there anything? I mean, just wondering about a move like f4. No, it doesn't look like anything really. Where are my threats? That's what I want to know. Where have my threats disappeared? I should have had a few, really. I mean, the problem with queen a5, queen g3 is that black's hitting the rook on b8 as well here. So this is, which is hanging. This has not helped somehow. This has absolutely not helped.
rook e8.
Yeah, possible. Possibly a very sensible move. Yeah, I was wondering about queen f5 or something, maybe e3. Yeah, rook e8 looks like the most sensible move, Natasha. I think you're absolutely right. A bit weird. So you put the rook on b8, you know, now you're going back to e8. But I think this is your most promising counterplay avenue, really. You know, and not the b file anymore. But interesting. I mean, it's just really, yeah. Yeah, no, very, very complicated position. Anyway, it looks like Harry Grieve is probably going to do the biz. Oh, has black found something? Rook g8, f takes e4, took on c3 there.
Ooh. Okay.
Bishop takes c3, and then queen takes c5.
Now what's happening? Can't take on g7.
That is a very good question. What is happening here? Now, this was not. Oh dear me! But wait a minute, don't we have f4 here now? Yeah, and then white is probably going to take on here.
Oh, then it goes off to king and pawn ending.
Well, no, I'm not sure. So, yeah, I mean, we can swap off. We can do this, right? Takes.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing. Well, I mean, fe king d4, king f7, king e6. Is that anything? Probably that's just a draw, I guess. King d4, king f7 takes. Maybe we even just run for the h pawn first. That must be a draw, I think. Yeah, that's just going to be a draw, I think. Now, what I'm wondering about, what you could also do is to play this move f4. Well, or actually, I mean, you could even just play f takes e4. And then just wait a tempo.
Yeah.
Well, actually, even I'm saying wait a tempo. Well, yeah, okay. You can maybe. Is this forcing black to play queen c3? I'm not even 100% sure about that.
No, it's not, because you could play queen f2 if you wanted.
Okay, I go king c1.
All right. Do we have to keep checking? We might do, mightn't we? Queen e3. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, what you could do, because I think you're just going to have rook check. You'll have a perpetual somehow. But if we take here now, we're a tempo up. You see, so we come here and then we win this pawn.
Okay, yeah.
And then I guess that we're just winning here. I mean, we must be we're just way faster, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we're way faster here. God,
I am asking about b takes c3 first, but I'm not exactly sure the position. Defending g7.
Wait a minute. So king c2. And then what we're saying, we're just saying f takes e4 here.
Now. B takes c3 first. Oh, bishop takes c3. But queen g8, mate.
Yeah, queen g8, mate. But I think if we take on here, I just don't know. I don't know what. I think queen g7 is the only one. I mean, what you certainly have to say is that I certainly haven't called this one very well because been making mistakes all over the place. I mean, it's a complicated one, this one. But this is looking really strong, I think. I mean, I'm probably making. I've made so many mistakes so far. I'll probably make some more, but I think this is the only way. This is the only line I can possibly see. But I think that this is just a trivial endgame win. Here and here.
Yeah. And if the king just stops you coming out, king f4, yeah.
I'll go c5 maybe.
Yeah, and you'll manage to do it so it's not your move at the end, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll go h5, and I mean, at some stage I'll go. At some stage I'll get out of there. I mean, that's so. My goodness me! Oh, black went f4. Now this is interesting. Is this? This may also be good, or it may not be good.
Now we do have to take on
it probably is quite good actually. Oh, queen f2.
Okay.
Oh well, no, it doesn't actually ruin everything because you can always end up taking straight away. But I think at the end of the day, what we'll need to do is to go queen c3 and king there. This is probably just winning as well, right? I go king there, and if e5, I've got king f5.
Yeah.
Or at least this feels like it will be winning. Although, yeah, f3 takes. Well, if anyone's got any chances here, it's black. I'm not 100% sure it's winning, but it does look pretty good. But this is quite interesting. Does black have a clever way to take something with check? I mean, that's kind of the. I mean, I think I go king c1. I think if I go queen e3, then just king b2. So, I mean, I don't think you can just let's system off the draw. Good Lord!
He's just going for perpetual.
Right. Okay. I don't think that's a good decision. I'm pretty sure that black. I'm pretty sure that after FE, I think that black was winning, and I still think that black's got a big advantage after there. And I mean, he can always just give checks, and yeah. I think white. I would think that white would be well advised to take a draw because black can always transpose back into a queen c3 check.
Yeah.
But, and I wouldn't have thought anyway that you could avoid a perpetual if black wants to give it. So really a really complicated game, I have to say. I haven't. I thought it had turned around completely at this stage, but it's possible that it didn't actually, that it was still extremely unclear. I mean, f takes c4 was played. I mean, I was assuming that something like knight e6, knight e6 would be good, but maybe this was all too much. Maybe, yeah. It must be said, actually, didn't we have rook takes g7 in this position? Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm losing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we have, after queen a5, didn't we have rook g7 in this position? Oh, but this was what we were looking at. That's right. Rook g7 and then queen a2, queen d4. That was the the thought.
We saw that one, didn't we?
But yeah. So, but I'm wondering, was there something else instead of? Was maybe e3 the move? Was this maybe the idea for? There's definitely some danger there. But it's not clear. I mean, I can go bishop takes e3, queen c3 check, king there. And obviously, if you take on g7, I'll go bishop d4. And if you go queen g7, I'll go bishop d4, knight f6, queen b2. You can't defend this guy.
That's good for white.
And I'm also covering the g1 square there. I don't know. This is really complicated, and as I said, I've made a complete mess of it. So I'm not. But this could be quite dangerous because I mean, knight takes c3. Although this one's hanging. This is real engine stuff. This is. I mean, maybe yeah. You can always make a draw this way, maybe. But do you have more? Maybe not. I don't know. Incredible, really incredible line breaks, but yeah, very, very complicated this game, and yeah, maybe a draw is a good result. Oh, nut flash as well.
Let's see.
Draw agreed there. Draw agreed.
Okay, yes, probably wise by white there. Let's see Lego Children against Peter Finn.
Ah, okay. Observe. Check, mate a lot. A handle everyone wishes they'd chosen. So, oh, good lord, Lego Children, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, no, it's just an
equal pawns, I think here.
Equalish ending. I mean, what black's a tiny bit better because the a4 pawn is easier to attack than the a7 pawn. But apart from that, there's not much in it at all. So you'd expect a draw, really.
Yeah.
Having some tough games, checkmate. Lot isn't he? This had a very long hold to against All Guns Blazing, I think, in the first round.
Yeah.
But still hanging in there. So that's really good.
I was just looking at rook c2 and then rook a2. Does that do anything?
Well, we can go knight d4 to c6, I guess. We'll just counterattack. So if you go rook d2, I go knight d4.
Yeah.
There and then here. If you take, I'll take. And if you take, I just take here. And I don't think you've got discovered attack. That was my feeling, but well. Yeah. Well, actually, it's more tricky than I thought, but it's probably still fine. I mean, I go here and I go rook check, and then I go f4, and I should be fine.
Yeah.
White's got a little initiative. You know, if you're playing Michael Adams, he might find a few more tricks to test you with. But I think in general, this is just a draw.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Rock Troll. Rock Troll is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A pawn up against Chavez Ali. Yeah, rook ending. Oh, h5. That's very good technique. That's very good. Threatening now to take the pawn on b5 and then just go after this pawn on h6. it's like the Alpha Zero pawn, on H6.
Yes.
It's a very good technique. They're not automatically swapping off the pawns, but fixing another weakness there. So this should just be a win, very smooth win for Rock Troll. No big kingside attack, just a very good, nice positional grind there. That would move Rock Troll up to 3 out of 3. So in a very good position.
Well.
Let's have a look. This looks very good for white now against Tashika Aurora. Because white's just a piece up in actual fact, and a huge light squared bishop cutting across the king there. Let's have a look at Waldsman. Yeah, this has gone very nicely for white. F6, white played queen c3, knight f8, e5. Not quite sure about that way of playing, but I mean, in any case, always the light squares are going to be a big problem for black, and you see it in this line actually, because white went queen d2. If we take on d4, I just take back and go bishop b3, and then you can't hold the knight on f8. And then black tried c5. And now white just played queen c4 and d takes c5. So that's an extra pawn, and in actual fact, the light square problems haven't been solved either. So looking very good for white. Well played game so far. Let's have a look. Just refreshing the chess results, just to to see who's whether any results have come in yet. Doesn't look like it really. So let's have a look. We've got some more games. Let's have a look how Chris Duncan's doing.
Yes.
So he lost in the second round to Theo Corey. Actually, rook d1 could be very annoying here. Yeah, I mean, rook d1 will be quite irritating, I think. So, but okay, Drunken Knight. Let's have a look at Drunken Knight there. So Chris Duncan. So white putting up a good fight, but black is a pawn up. So it's just one trick you've got to be a little bit careful about. White's threatening to go g5, and when the knight moves, we'll have knight d7 takes c5. So we need to find a good thing about it. And I mean, white's got the two bishops, so there's some compensation. It's not a pawn up where you say and the rest is a matter of technique. It's there's going to need to be some work here to get this done. Not sure. Maybe got to be careful as well. Maybe start with a move like h6. Just it just stops the because the bishop's attacking the h7 pawn. So maybe start with a move like h6. Maybe white goes h4, but then we'll work out where we want to put this bishop. Maybe to b4 to go bishop c3.
Oh yeah, try and trade off one of those bishops.
Yeah. But black's got a little bit of h6, a very sensible move. Black's got a little bit of pressure to deal with before black can claim to be better. But I mean, maybe you could do just play a bit tricky, and if white goes h4, you go knight f4, and then if g5, I can take and go knight h3 check, followed by knight g5. Yeah, possibly an idea as well. So. Yeah, we'll have to see that. But that's looking pretty good for Chris Duncan there. So maybe one of the top seeds can get themselves back into contention there.
Right. Mr. Sponto 9 is Simon Wilkes. So MR.
I mean, I just was going to have a look at Lawrence Webb, just because he's another one of the top seeds who lost, but Lavrenti. No, I'm not getting any games for him. So maybe he's finished there already.
Yeah.
All right. So who do you want to follow, Natasha?
I was thinking Mr. Sunto 9. So MRSUNTO 9. Simon Wilkes.
Yeah, there we are. Right. So I guess this was a McCutcheon. Indeed, let's have a little look. So quite a well-known variation, this. I played as black, actually.
I played it as white.
Oh, you played it as white?
Yeah.
Haha. So this is, actually, I'm sure I've played a game that's very similar to this. So white's coming on the king side, and you're trying to defend on the queen side. Black's playing it quite well here, actually. b4, rook b8, rook b1, king e8. It's just always incredibly weird variations, and you're never quite sure, whether you're in time or not. This is quite dangerous, though.
If they take on c3. Oh, how are we?
Yeah, queen c3 is being played there. So takes, hg, rook takes g5, king e7, and white's thinking very complicated game.
Can you not take on d4? Oh, if you do, they take on g7.
It's white to move.
Yeah.
Because if you've gone knight takes d4 or whatever, then a knight f6 check was possible.
Oh.
So king e7. Ooh, interesting.
Simon Wilkes is a friend of Guitar Man.
Oh, very good.
And a big French player.
So I mean, rook g4 is one idea for white, just to hold the d4 pawn, and yeah, and then look, later to do something against the g pawn. And if you go rook g4, if g6, I presume I go knight f6, and yeah.
JTH, I think that Matthew does not do. You don't do lessons for individuals, or only very occasionally.
No, not really. It's one of the it's just time, really. Just a full-time job, and it's no, I'm afraid not. That's but there are lots of very good coaches around. People like we mentioned John Ems in particular. I think a very fine coach. And Chris Ward, a lot of good. Lauren DaCosta, very good coach as well. Very good guys, and sort of professionals at their job, really. So definitely could recommend those. But no, I don't do any coaching.
Hi, Rock Troll Tristan. We were looking at your game.
Well played. Nice ending.
And hi, Decoder.
Controlled.
A quick look at Theo's game. Hellraise is requesting. So that is Whimsical Jam.
Indeed. So it's all so it's quite weird, really. So white's actually vaguely threatening to go bishop c2 and then king c3 takes d2. So black's
taking everything.
Taking everything. Who's thinking? Black's thinking. So black's got a.
Hi again, Decoder. You're in two places at once.
My goodness. Only Decoder can do this. This really should have been a fairly simple win, really. But it's suddenly looking a bit more complicated. I think that king g7 was probably not such a useful move from that point of view, but because you'd like to go f5, really, but to try and disrupt the knight on e3, but he'd just take with check and come back. So I mean, you could go f4 anyway, but yeah, this has got quite interesting.
Nah, Guitar Man's in two places at once now.
What?
And Decoder won a school tournament today. Congratulations.
Well done, Decoder.
You should, seriously, Decoder, you should enter some of the British, the junior rapid players or something. You'd do well.
Absolutely. Guitar Man is in 2 places at once.
Yes. Both Decoder and Guitar Man now.
Okay, King F8. But I think now we're going to go Bishop C2. Or are we going to play a move like... possibly, maybe we should go play a move like G4 first, just to hold back the king side. But I mean, in principle, Bishop C2. We're just going to come with King C3 takes D2. So I mean, yeah, then White's definitely not worse.
White would have winning chances, right?
Well, I mean, maybe White's going to take one of these pawns in return. I think that's probably the way to do it. So I think White's probably still better, but Black's still better rather. But I guess I mean if I go, so say Bishop C2, Rook H1. Because if I go F5 here, then I could just take here. I think. F4 and take on here. Yes, I can do.
And if takes the knight, takes the rook, takes the F pawn. We stop it in time, just.
Indeed. But after Bishop C2, then maybe you go Rook here.
Now Tristan's asking about taking. If you went for the A pawn instead of the H pawn, is that just a draw?
Well, I'm wondering actually because if you go for the A pawn, can I just defend it with A4? And if you come here, defend, I'll just go knight D1 and then take on C3. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking to go for the H pawn. You can't cover it. I take here, and then I go knight D1. Again, I'm not very sure about this move King F8, which feels wrong. I would have expected Black maybe to play a move like H5, because then this would be very dangerous, actually, with the pawn on H5 already. If instead of King F8, you just gone H5 here, and then you just let this happen, and then you go H4. Maybe you're, I don't know.
Oh gosh,
maybe
this H pawn's looking dangerous now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is just very dangerous. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it could be. And King F8 feels a little bit odd somehow. But wow, a very good fight back. Oh, Black's played F5. King F8, White went H4. Okay, interesting. So White was obviously alert to this possibility of the H pawn being targeted and decided to go for H4 himself. So takes and F5, and of course. Looking for F4 here.
Oh, so what do we do? Bishop C2 knight.
Well, we can go F4, or we can just go Bishop C2. And after F4, we go knight D1, and then knight C3. I mean, this guy is still, but it's just weird having the king on here, really.
Just asking, we're saying knight C3. Couldn't we instead go king C3 so that then the rook can't get across?
No, that would be a good. That would be a good idea. That would be a good idea indeed. So Bishop C2. I mean, maybe I should just go Rook H1. It's not. I don't know. Having weakened the king side like this, it's just it's not quite there really. I mean, I think White's played F4, very ambitious, just keeping the pawn on F5. So King F7, and now I think we need to play Bishop C2 here. Then maybe we go Rook E1, Rook H1, Knight D1. King there, king takes, rook h4, we go knight f5, and then king d2. Yeah, I mean, I would have thought that white would be able to make a draw here, really. You know, it's still going to be a little bit probably on the worst side, but yeah, I mean, great fight back. And Tactic Monster, of course, is quite down on time, whereas Whimsical Jam has played very fast. So that's also pretty good. Let's have a look. Checkmate a lot against Lego Children. Yeah, this is looking quite even, really. I think black's just going to go knight f2 check and then knight d3 again. See, this past h pawn stops white from really, from really going all in with the king, I would have thought. So this is looking like a draw for checkmate, not against Lego Children. Aromas against Drunken
It's because you're trying to log on to too many places at once. But mine looks okay, I think. So if anyone else has it buffering, but mine looks okay. I've got it on my monitor.
Is it just a draw if the C and D pawns off and black grabs the A pawn? Yeah. In general, would that be a draw? Probably, I think. I think that the minor pieces can hold that. I think so.
Here's another fun one. Slippery Penguin. Sorry, The Slippery Penguin, which is Edison Zhu, who we saw playing in the Glawny.
Did I do that properly? I'm not seeing anyone. So
actually, the other player is easier. GIYL.
No, I've started on the Slippery Penguin. I will.
Okay.
There we are. Thinking that it was GIYL. So this is a fairly typical Bishop E5 Sicilian. And white's looking to do something like f4 at the moment.
Yeah.
That'll probably be white's next move there. I
was wondering if that was going to go c4 at some point.
Yeah, I mean, that is always a possibility. I think we'll probably just take on c4 at the moment, and then b6 is hanging as well, the queen b6. But that is an idea. Question is, do we want to stop f4? Or how much do we want to stop f4? I mean, g5 is quite possible and quite typical, really. And then you'll just move the bishop out of the way and try and go knight e6 either to d4 or to f4. So probably g5 is a good move here.
Yeah.
Quite a typical move. These are very typical positions, really. You know, it's just white swapped off the light squared bishop and then put his pawns on light squares. Black's got a very solid structure, and then white's got to look for a pawn break. And well, d4 would be one pawn break, but never going to happen, of course. So f4 is the other one. You know, and they're slightly deceptive. I mean, they can turn a bit nasty for black. You know, if you let white get too many moves in. So I think I would play g5 here just to stop f4. And
neither of them have stacks of time left. They're both under 5 minutes.
Yeah, bishop f7. Okay, so now I think black gets the idea that white gets the idea that he's made a bit of progress when he gets to play f4. You know, and then f takes c5, and then I can come to g4. You know, yeah, I would have gone g5 really, but okie dokie. Let's have a look. What's happening here? So white did play rook g4, rook bf8. That's a little bit passive somehow. I wonder why black played. Why did black play rook f8? I wonder. Rook hg1, then g6. So yeah, what is white going to do here? I mean, I'm guessing knight f6. Won't let me guess for some reason. So I'm guessing knight f6 now, and then rook h8. Yeah, and I imagine maybe black's looking just to bring the king round to c7. That's quite typical in the McCutcheon. How's black doing here? Black's not doing badly. I mean, why it's kind of a little bit tied up here, really, because the rook's defending d4 and h4, so you can't abandon that, how do you? I suppose what you might
queen a3 check. Oh, queen b4.
We go queen b4, I think, but I think maybe maybe a move like queen a1 could be possible.
Yeah.
And I'm threatening both rook b1 and also I've got the idea of going c3. Just to I'm a bit confused as to why black played the rook to f8. To be honest, because it was on the b file before, which looked pretty good, really. So I mean, I could also play a move like queen e3, and then just again also try and play the move c3 at some stage and get the king out of the way. But white's pieces are a little bit awkward. I mean, it's a very typically complicated position in the McCutcheon, really. Yeah, you're always looking at sacrifices. Bishop c4 or bishop f3 takes d5, but I don't see them. I don't see them really working, actually. So I quite like black in this position, I think. I think black's doing pretty well here. So easy for white to go wrong as well. I think, or to make a tactical mistake. I think that's the thing. That's the quite easy. I mean, maybe white could white do something like rook f4 maybe, and look to get an h5. That's a possibility, I suppose. Here an h5 maybe. Then takes, bishop takes, and then this rook can move into here. That's maybe a possible idea. Difficult. Very complicated, this one. Very nice French struggle, I have to say. So
you want to see a rook and pawn ending?
I would wish nothing more in the world, Natasha.
Eden Hazard 8.
Ooh. Max Burt.
Yes.
Against Fowler Dog. So should be a draw, really. Pardon me? Because white's got 3 pawns on the king side, so sort of ample opportunity to create a pass pawn. That's the that's definitely the thing. So yeah, rook's behind the pawn. I mean, at some stage you'll just go g4, and yeah, maybe we'll go h4, h5, or h4, and I mean, you should just be able to create a pass pawn that'll distract black, basically, and black will have his a pawn, white will have the f pawn. So here probably you should just play g4, and I think and you should be fine.
Okay.
It's true, Guitar Man. The French is a very difficult opening, and the McCutcheons are really complicated. I played quite a few of them, and I never really had the feeling that I knew what I was doing. But indeed, my opponent didn't either, so that did indeed even things up. I've got pretty good results with it, but it is really confusing. So Korchnoi played it very well indeed. That was, and there's a book by Moskalenko. Well, there's several books on the French, and he's always coming up with new little subtle move orders in the McCutcheon. The subtlety is always on move 7. Whether when white goes queen g4, do you answer? Well, actually, it's whenever white goes queen g4, do you answer king f8 or g6? And Moskalenko's always finding unusual stuff in there. So yeah, if you're a French player, then those books are definitely worth looking at. Let's have a look. Is Peshka the Great still going? I'm guessing not.
No, he won, I think.
He won, yeah, didn't he? It was a sharp game, but Let's have a look. Whimsical Jam against Tactic Monster. What have we got here?
That's finished, but I didn't see it. So it's probably a draw, I guess.
No, it's still going, Whimsical
Is
Jam.
it still going? It's vanished on mine. All right, cool.
This game. This should be a draw. This should just be a draw, really. The two pieces should be powerful enough, I think, to keep this under control. But I would say that who could more easily lose this?
Oh, what about the bishop? Oh no, it's okay. It's okay.
No, yeah, knight d4. There's knight d4. Who could more easily lose this? It's definitely white. I mean that is definitely true, because there's all sorts of tricky stuff. And yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe rook a2 now, actually. And if bishop d1, then I've got king a4. Yeah, this is maybe a little bit unpleasant again. Because if I go bishop d1 to cover the pawn, then king e4. Could be annoying. I don't know, bishop c2 check takes there.
Oh yeah, take on h7, try and make up on.
Yeah, we go
f3 as well.
Very risky, this, very risky. Yeah, I mean, I think, but of course, white's got lots of time and black hasn't. So, this is, I think this is, increasing white's chances substantially of. This is very aggressive. Wow, very little time for black, but he's going for it big time. I mean, we've got several ideas here. I mean, we could go knight d6 check. Oh, sorry. We could go knight d6 check, and after king e3, we go knight c4, and after king f2, we go knight a5, for example.
Yeah.
Decoder. Yes, we all know that feeling. Do you know? It was at the weekend I helped Natasha prepare for her shogi game, and we worked out exactly what it was. And then on move 2, Natasha just did a normal stuff and didn't do at all what we prepared.
Then I remembered after that. Then I put it back to where it was meant to go, but I had lost a move. Yeah.
The funny thing was, so I tweeted because Natasha won a game, so that was fantastic too. But she won, and I tweeted, "Yay! She's won." And then Natasha replied saying, with a picture of the diagram, and saying, "Thank you for preparing this opening." And then you looked at the opening, and Natasha hadn't actually done any of the things that you're supposed to do.
I did most of what you said, almost all, except for the second move was wrong.
No, but it wasn't. But the castle, it wasn't there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We won a glorious victory. A decent app where you can learn shogi from scratch. I think the best thing. Guitar Man is the Hidechi site. I think that's really the best place to learn shogi, because they've got if you just search on Hidechi, that's HIDETCHI, and then shogi, and there's a whole series of videos from maybe 17, 18 videos taking you through all of the rules, the pieces, etc., and that's very, very good.
Yeah, and there's our Learn Shogi video as well, Shogi for chess players.
Indeed.
On the Game Changer site. And you could try, if you want to just play a computer, you can try level 100, which you can get sort of increasing levels of difficulty once you've learnt the pieces and stuff.
Indeed. There's also, and then for playing afterwards, there's live chess shogi, which is quite good if you're familiar with live chess, although not so many people play on that. And then 81 Dojo is the main site for playing. Game Changer site on YouTube. Hidechi site is on YouTube as well.
Yeah, that's right. Decoderlyshogi.org. Exactly right. Checkmate Stop. We saw your draw. Yes. We saw the end of it.
Yeah, the level 100. It's not bad at all. We both used it quite a bit, didn't we, Natasha? And I think that was helpful. That was.
And there's puzzles on Lee Shogi as well, if you want to do.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah,
simple checkmate puzzles on there.
Yeah, puzzles are excellent. Checkmate puzzles are absolutely excellent to get on there. Let's have a look. Sorry, we've been talking about this, but meanwhile, Whimsical Jam and Tactic Monster, of course. Oh, so Whimsical Jam went for the other one. He went for the H pawn, but I'm not sure about that one.
Now either side could win, right? Or am I getting over?
I would say that only black can win still. I would have thought. So let's have a look at this one. Rook A4. Wow. Got to be very careful now. You can't do something like knight D6 because of rook A4. Rook A3.
H6?
A6 will go rook H4, I think.
H7.
And then we'll go F2. And we're just going to go rook H7.
Oh, you're doing it that way around. Of course you are.
Now the question is whether I could go knight D6, rook H7, knight C4, king F wherever, and knight A5. But then I've got rook H3. I just get the feeling that you're just going to end up pinned wrongly.
Okay.
I don't think the F7 pawn, the H7 pawn was the important one to go for. Well, the nice thing, the thing that I liked about, oops.
Hi, Waltzman. Congratulations. I assume you won that one. You were looking better.
The reason I like knight D6 there was because you force the king in front of the
draw, sorry. Apologies.
front of the F pawn. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Waltzman.
Sorry, Waltzman. We were thinking that you had a very good position there. That's but well played all the same. That's good.
Checkmate still is saying they drew. Oh, Waltzman drew. Okay, yes. Fine.
Yeah. So let's have a look. This is getting a bit nasty, possibly for black, because the pawns are weak and the king's a little bit sensitive there. So I think that that looks like Gil is going to probably. Yeah, he must have defended very well there because that was a tricky position with those great light squares for white. Yeah, we're getting our line here in actual fact, aren't we? The king F4 played by is this a better move order from white? Knight F7. Oh, knight F7, that's very clever. This is a very clever move order from white. I mean, we go F2, and then white's going to play king D2, I guess. Or F2, or wait a minute. Why are you just going to play something like bishop F1? This is quite. This is very resourceful defense from white, but I think it's still going to be. It's still going to be in vain, I'm afraid. But I don't know. King D2. I mean, we are coming round to E2 to get this guy. So I'm probably going to go rook H1, I think, here, and we're not threatening F1. Okay, king G3. Okay, just coming around to G2. That's also probably going to be quite awkward. No, I think this has gone. I think this has gone. I'm afraid. I think black's just managed to pull this one out of the fire. Very tough game, this one. Almost, yeah, very resourceful defense from Whimsical Jam, almost securing the draw. But I think that The black's just going to make it, I think. I'm just having a look. I mean, could try bishop f1. And then I can go rook h1, for example. Bishop f1, I go rook h1, king e2. Okay. And then I start running with this one.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I'm just wondering a little bit, knight d6 now, but this is not going to work, right? You're too far away, I think.
Yeah, because the king's blocking the bishop, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you got. I don't know. You're always. No, this is just going to. I think this is going to work. You know, I think this is just going to work for black, and I think that White's fantastic defense will be in vain, unfortunately, but still very well played from White. You know, that was really excellent there. Because White looked completely lost, you know, after the opening there. So this is going to be a bit of a toughie. Not easy to break through here for black. Chris Duncan against Manoj Aurora. I suppose what you just got to judge properly is whether you can go king d4 to c3, and then, you know, obviously White's going to be taking all these kingside pawns. Not an easy one to judge, that one, but White again putting up a very stout defense there. Very good defenses at the moment in plenty of games here. So, how's this French gone? Ooh, well, this is still a total mess. So White has won the exchange, but Black's got some decent counterplay, I think. Although I'm wondering whether, should Black try to stop this a4? If it possible? Because it's a bit of a shame now that the knight has to go back to c7. But yeah, we're still threatening queen f2. So rook e3 played. We can just go king king e7 is queen a3, d4. Why not? And look at this. They've neither of them got any time at all. So it's this is a real.
It's still so complicated. Okay, queen a3, swap queens.
Okay, I want to swap queens there. Queen d5 I think is quite a good one. Why are we going to go bishop f3 now, actually?
That's what I was just looking at, bishop f3.
Queen for queen. It traps the queen. Oh.
Gosh.
And unfortunately, you've got this. If there was any justice in the world, you'd have d takes e3 and then somewhere e2 or something like that. But it's not really. I mean, you could go e2, but I mean, this is going to be a win for. Oh, good lord! It's a really tense game, this one, but looks like White has just emerged on top there. A very interesting game. Whimsical jam. So, my goodness me, this is really 95. Wow, whimsical jam. Putting up a hell of a defense here. Yeah. You're starting to wonder, actually, because maybe this a pawn is going to end up doomed.
Oh.
Knight c4. I'm not sure. What I was wondering about was this is much easier to I go knight g4 check, king somewhere, and I just take on there.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, takes.
And then bishop c4. I just want to.
Oh, yes, sorry.
I just want to cover it and take it, but and you know, something like, oh no, this is not going to work. But tough. I just want to basically have this, this a pawn on the queen side, and I just put my king in front of it and then round it up slowly with my knight, or with my piece. But it's very difficult to work out this. This is a little bit. Now, how is this going to work? Bishop d3 played. Wow. Rook h3 looks tempting now. I thought bishop e2 maybe was better. But I guess he's going to go knight d2 then. And then we go a3, and he's going to go h7, isn't he?
Yeah.
And a2, king b2. Gee, wow. My goodness me, this is a hell of a game. Okay, I think I think bishop d3 was it a mistake? It feels like a bit of a mistake, but that might not be important because I think we go knight d2 now. Indeed,
He's done it.
But now black's going to go rook h6. That's the problem, isn't it?
Oh, Hellraiser saying bishop d3 was a big mistake.
Yeah, I think so. I think bishop e2 was much better. I think bishop e2. I think we were going to get into that scenario where white's king runs after the pawn, and but now I think it's going to be very difficult. These pieces are all wrong, unfortunately. I think that was just a mistake at the end there. Incredible defense though from Whimsical Jam. But now, if you go after the a pawn now, king b4 or something, I just go rook d6. So
rook d6, yeah.
So I think this is going to be. I would expect this to be. And there's too many, knight c4. There's rook h3. So your pieces are not. They're just not quite doing it.
What about bishop b5?
Bishop b5. So I'll go a3.
Yeah. I'm making it up. King b3.
Yeah, then I've got rook b6.
Yeah.
That's the pin. It's a bit. I'm not sure, but it's a miracle if you managed to draw this. I would say now, whereas I think probably it was maybe even objectively possible to draw it, but
What's happened? Bishop b5, a3.
Yeah, I think you're going to get pinned or hit in some way. I don't think you can stop it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe knight b3, but then I think I just go rook h3 check, and then I go a2 afterwards. So no, I think. Although, yeah, that's not quite finished. God, my goodness. Bishop c4. Now I go rook c6, and this is really lost now. I think. So after rook c6, I'm just going to take on c4 and go a2, and I'm just stretching you in all directions there. So if Arjun manages to make this, it's quite an effort because he's been on increments for for what feels like years. So, but yeah, this is now winning, I think. King b3, rook takes c4. And you just can't... king takes c4 and then a2 afterwards.
This French defense now, white has the extra. There's a queen for 2 pieces.
Yeah. Black's done pretty well there, really. But I think this e6 pawn is going to be a tough one to hold, because I think now we go queen d6, and then we're breaking the defense, really. You've got to go bishop d7, and then I go c5. So really unlucky, Black, because yeah, I thought Black played very, very well there, and really did really made a good, found some very interesting ideas, but just White was just rather sharp and sneaky in the when the time got low there. We can see Gil is now beating the Slippery Penguin. Looks like Drunken Knight has decided to go for it. What is this ending? It's not 100% clear, this one. Oh, it's bishop c5. Okay. Sorry, it's black's move. Does that help? Well, it definitely helps. Takes, b3 takes. Yeah, this should still be quite good for... I'm just thinking bishop c5. King b3, bishop f8. We go... maybe, I suppose... Maybe we just go bishop c1, actually, and then bishop g5. That's probably the way to do it, isn't it? And that should be completely winning. So it looks like Drunken Knight's going to get back. Whimsical Jam thinking, but I think that's hard luck. It's going to be hard luck, Whimsical Jam, after a great effort there. Are there any other games that are going, Natasha?
There are, yeah. I was just looking for some more, but the ones I've got, All Guns Blazing.
Oh, is there an underscore in between some of those? Or,
yes, it's All Guns _ Blazing, which has been going like this for a little while. I mean, it's knight and 2 against bishop and 1.
Ah, okay. I'm guessing that this should just be drawn, really. You're never going to be able to cover the h4 pawn and I have to say, All Guns Blazing has had a lot of endings, hasn't he? He's really had some long games. Yeah. So I think he beat the Cypriot, didn't he? In long endgame, he had a long endgame against Checkmate a lot, and now this one as well.
I'm just typing in the longest username, and then I forgot what it was, but I've just remembered again.
The lol, the one with lol at the end.
No, let's rook and roll with the king, but don't do it because it's finished, I think.
Ah, okay.
Duke Dylan Duke.
Yeah, so Arjun Kalani plays the right move, a2 now, and a classic, yeah. Well played, both players. Very fine game. I think we've really enjoyed that one. That's been, I think, the highlight of this, of this session. Great defense by Whimsical Jam, but Black got there in the end. So great play from both players. Well done. This is another great game, but yeah, hard luck, Black. Well played, White. Yeah, another very enjoyable game to look at. All Guns Blazing. Oh, Eden Hazard has actually drawn against Fowler Dog. So that rook ending turned out to be drawn. This one may go on for some time, but I do believe that this should be draw. Bishop f7 check is probably the best way to do it. King g5 and then bishop back somewhere. And well, just very difficult to make progress there. Any other games going on, Natasha?
Yes, and I'm just working through, and the ones, most of them are finished. I'm just checking Moonmaker. No, I can't see Moonmaker either.
Let's have a look at the results then. The French game, yeah, this is the French game, Guitar Man. So unfortunately, it ended up in unfortunately, it ended up in the win for White. Very fine game by White, but yeah, unlucky for Black as well. Basically, it was well played by both players. Maybe have a quick look at the results. How many have not actually getting any results on there?
No, I don't think they come through yet.
Let's have a look. How about Jan Moore? It's Jan. We followed him a few days ago. Able to follow Jan Moore 7. Okay, presumably not. Oh, follow. Sorry, whoops. Observe. No. Yeah, this is kind of the time, isn't it, after a couple of hours where games really start. You really start seeing that most games are finished. This one is obviously going to end in a white win. This should just end in a draw. Yeah, and just a bit of a shame that the results aren't up yet, really, because that's.
I think I've gone through most of them.
Would be nice to have seen that, but yeah, there's a lot of people not paired, actually. A lot of people with buys, I think, as well. So it's probably not too surprising there.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we could just leave it there.
I haven't tried the Cypriot yet. Let me just try the Cypriot. No, that one's on as well. Yes, sure. We can leave it there. All right. So end of round 3. Who's on 3 out of 3?
Well, Yichin Han must be on 3. Tristan Cox is on 3. Paul Dargan's on 3.
Harry Grieve, did he win that one in the end?
No, he drew that one. Arjun Kolani is on 3. And I don't know what happened between Ryan Vooks and Lawrence Spencer, and actually Gerasimos Giakos here will be on 3 as well. So that sounds like about 6 players on 3.
Yes. All righty, good. Thanks everyone very much for watching this. We are going to let's raid Horsey Chess. That's always nice.
Yay.
Yeah, so we're back again tomorrow night for round 4 of this very exciting qualifier.
Thanks very much, man. Thanks very much, Rob Troll.
Raid Horsey Chess. Right, let's do that. 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bye, Decoder.
Raid now. Tomorrow night for round 4 of this very exciting qualifier. I will end the stream. There we go. Thanks, everyone.